What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Netflix new series, Messiah. Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I would like to say thank you to Netflix for granting me the screeners to the entire 10 episodes of this new show. And you know the drill. They've asked me to not spill spoilers, therefore I will honor their request. This review is spoiler-free. I repeat, there are no spoilers in this video review. Messiah is one of those shows where the bad quality outweighs the good. I tried, man. I really tried to give this show the benefit of the doubt, but ultimately, its shortcomings are too overwhelming to ignore. I commend its effort in trying to be provocative, but overall, Messiah is a dull, soulless, pointless journey. Created, written, and executive produced by Michael Petroni. Michelle Monaghan plays CIA officer Eva Geller, who uncovers an information about a mysterious man whom his followers called al-masih, played by Mehdi Debi. Al-masih gains international attention through acts of public disruption, and he also performs miracles. So because of that, the global media becomes fixated on this charismatic figure. Eva thinks al-masih is worth investigating in order to find out not only his origins, but whether he really is a divine entity or a con man capable of causing major geopolitical instability. All the while, other characters are also interwoven in the overarching arc, which includes an Israeli intelligence officer, a Texas preacher and his family, a Palestinian refugee, and a very committed journalist. Co-starring Dermot Mulroney, Beau Bridges, Jane Addams, and John Ortiz. Okay, I gotta be honest with you. When I heard that this show was produced by Mark Burnett and Roma Downey, I was a bit turned off by it because those two are the forces behind some of the cheesiest Christian-themed TV shows and movies, including that unbearable Ben-Hur remake. And at one point, I also thought that this Messiah was gonna be just another modernization retelling of Jesus' story, and we've seen those before. But turns out, the concept developed by creator-showrunner Michael Petroni is way more intriguing than that. Notice I said the concept is intriguing. The entire series itself, well, that's a whole other verdict that I will get to in a minute. But let's go through some of the positives first. This show's filming locations include Jordan and New Mexico, and it requires many of its key actors to speak more than a couple of languages. I know that going global is nothing new to Netflix, but you gotta admire the large, ambitious scope of this project. The fact that they gambled on such a controversial topic and they went out of their way to at least be authentic in their very diverse casting, it's nothing short of impressive in my opinion. Now, the biggest name on this show is Michelle Monaghan, whom I've always viewed as a fantastic actress, and she almost never gets enough credit. As the character CIA agent Eva Geller, I think Michelle Monaghan does the best that she could with the material that she's given. And I say that because there are episodes where I feel that what Michael Petroni wrote just doesn't push Michelle far enough. Trust me, she has what it takes, but sadly, oftentimes, she is reduced to just pointless glares or simply reacting to the moment at hand. But I still overall enjoy Michelle's performance, which tethers between the stereotypical attitude-driven, married-to-her-job kind of person, and somebody who struggles to shake off any possibility that this so-called al-masih could be what he says he is. Now, I tweeted that this show would piss off a lot of people, and here's why. Without spoiling details, there's a scene that takes place at Temple Mount, which is considered by many to be a very holy place. Obviously, the production did not shoot that scene literally there, but just the idea of it will anger a lot of people who believe that such places should never be treated that way. Now, the lead character's name is al-masih. In the Islam religion, the word al-masih is an evil figure, equivalent or comparable to Antichrist in Christianity. Now, it's actually not that simple because the show has a twist to it, but still, the name would be sufficient enough to trigger religious snowflakes. Another thing also is that this character al-masih does not have a clear specific religion. So while this show may be produced by Mark Burnett and Roma Downey, Messiah is not strictly speaking Christian themed, and it's not necessarily Muslim themed either. Plus, the characters like to drop F-bombs left and right. Now, are those my criticism of this series? Not really. They're more of an observation, actually, because in my opinion, when it comes to art or storytelling, there should not be any boundary or limitation, which goes to what I said earlier in that the concept is indeed intriguing because showrunner creator Michael Petroni dares to play with what if. What if we flip the mythology over on its head? What if we do this instead of that? It's one of the fundamentals of art and creativity. In this case, Petroni challenges rigid conservatives who think that certain traditional things should be perceived only as they've always been and never to be messed with, much less reimagined. My criticism of this show has to do with how Petroni and director James McTeague structured the story and the characters. Messiah has a total of 10 episodes, but actually all of it can be told in just 4 or 5 episodes really, because in the middle section of that arc, there's a whole lot of much ado about nothing. The first 2 episodes were interesting, but then the next few episodes were bland and tedious, all the way till the last couple of episodes where the suspense picks up again. Some of the Middle Eastern supporting characters also unfortunately fall into the usual tropes of terrorists. There are parts about this show that are just not too far different from Homeland series. So that is when this show's wheels start to come off and fall by the wayside. There's a little family drama going on at the heart of the show, which slowly becomes slightly bit compelling by episode 7 and on. But prior to that, it's as if those characters were just floating around aimlessly, especially the grown daughter, who does nothing but chain smoking almost the entire time. The lead character, al-masih, only captures your curiosity to a certain extent. Beyond that, all that he does is just regurgitate other characters' questions back at them. He behaves more like a psychiatrist or a shrink rather than a religious figure. And it doesn't take long until that behavior gets under your skin. I think actor Mehdi Debi's stoic performance is just the right amount for what the script probably demands of him, but because of that, he also comes across as one note. It seems that this show, for most of the time, gets stuck in provocative, occasionally sprinkled in some not so well written melodramatic moments here and there. But in its entirety, Messiah is just not gripping enough to make that emotional connection with the audience. This show is too focused on bombarding you with unanswered questions, so much so that it confuses itself and it doesn't really land on anything conclusive, let alone get any clear point across. Now, I don't want to get hung up on politics in this review, but very briefly, this show's very obvious political statements are also too simpleton instead of nuanced. You know this world is more complicated than that, but this show views it from the lens of a 12-year-old. And so, Messiah does not have to necessarily be 10 episodes long. It does not have to necessarily be this convoluted. And it should not be provocative just for provocative sake. If all your story's purpose is to just push people's buttons and nothing else, then don't blame us for criticizing your story.